Podcast.
It's going to be very hot. It's going to be very uncomfortable for everybody.
We're gonna slide down them big hills, you know what I mean, on the big, nice burgundy snowboard.
Okay, here we go again. We are back in the booth at the Bomb Hall, which is presented by Liquid Death and Pub Beer. Now, today we have our world's first professional mountain biker in the booth, one of the most prolific freeriders to ever do it. You've seen him on the podium at Red Bull Rampage, and in the words of Ryan Runke, he is hell on anything with wheels, and he's also a cultured redneck. Again, from Ryan Runke. Now, first of all, Stony Buds, how are we doing?
So good, my dog.
Now, second of all, Carson, how are we doing?
Doing great. Stoked to be on here.
Well, we're stoked to have you. You flew in from Bend last night just to do the show, right?
Yep.
Yeah, what's going on in Bend right now?
It's just warm, summer activities going on, and I'm kind of injured right now, so I'm kind of just chilling at home, doing lots of emails, trying to heal. So a little bored, so I was super stoked to get hit up by you guys and come do this podcast, and been a fan, listened to a bunch of them, and yeah, stoked to, talk about mountain biking in the snowboard world. And
yeah, I think we should just start right with that, because a lot of our friends that are mountain bikers as well as snowboarders, if you look at snowboarding, it's up in the mountains. You're basically riding the same exact terrain as you would in the summer on a mountain bike. And I kind of want to talk about a bunch of the similarities, because especially in regards to like your new film, we were talking about, what's it called again? Quarter
point
film. Yeah. And you guys are getting helied up on top of mountains, just like big mountain riders do in AK. So yeah, what are the kind of the similarities between mountain biking and snowboarding in some senses?
Yeah, like I grew up on a board and I snowboarded for a long time as a Grom and still do for fun. And when I first got into it, like I was racing moto a little bit and snowboarding, and used to compete a little bit at all the USASA little competitions around the West Coast. And then once I got into mountain biking, I was pretty much just riding dirt jumps. And for me, I ended up just sticking with mountain biking. One, because I had more fun. I felt like I was better, progressing quicker, and it kind of felt like a mix of moto and snowboarding to me. Because you can definitely make it style based and lots of spins in mountain biking. And for me, it's like spinning is like super similar. Obviously, a lot different, but and then just like riding trails, trail bikes downhill, going up a lift, riding bike parks. It's like pretty similar in a lot of ways, and just ripping through the trees and picking your own line and popping off stuff. So I think that's why a lot of the snowboard dudes are, super into mountain biking now in the summer. I mean, it's probably not the safest way to cross train or have fun, be in the woods, it's a little consequential sometimes, but yeah, like Sage and Brock and Ben, Gabe, they all really enjoy mountain biking, and kind of a lot of snowboarders. So It's pretty cool to see, and it's fun because I can, ride with all those guys, enjoy that, and then go snowboard with them in the winter. And it's very different, but similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Ben made a cool note. He just texted me last minute, Ben Ferguson. So being from Bend, know James Jackson really well, who's been a guest of the show, who's kind of like a Red Bull mindset coach type of guy. The list goes on of Bendites. You got Ben Ferguson, Spencer Schubert, that you're super good friends with, Gabe Ferguson. And he was basically saying that following you on a mountain bike is like incredible. You're popping off every little thing. You're like not even going where the trail dictates. And he likened it to like you guys following us. There's kind of a cool give and take of like, we're blown away by you guys, but you're stoked on the snowboarders as well, and
for sure. Like that. Yeah, that's a big similarity. Like I can follow Ben and Gabe Ferguson or Spencer, kind of any of you guys, and the amount of board control you guys have over, somebody like me who boards but isn't like crazy talented. It's fun because you pick up a lot of things, you can follow and kind of just do what they do, and it makes it way more fun. Just super fun to follow people and just shred and rip around, do what they do, And it's same thing with biking. It's kind of you guys have so much experience on snow that you interpret it a way different way than I do, and same with me on a bike, So in Ben, all those dudes follow me. I'm popping off and just finding little side hits and ripping through and finding new lines and hitting berms inside and blowing shit up, and yeah, so they're always stoked and, always doing like little nollies off stuff on the bike. And so they follow and they're like, that was way more fun to follow you because you can see what you can do with just a, simple trail, especially in Bend where trails aren't super steep. It's all just kind of fun, flowy, poppy stuff, kind of like Bachelor. And, so there's a lot of give and take with that.
I want to back up to something Chris said. You guys go up in helis and mountain bikes? I never knew this. How long has that been going on?
It's quite a long time.
Yeah,
I
is
think.
that just crazy or what?
It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's kind of few and far between, but when you get the opportunity, it's always worth it. I love helicopters, and it's really specific to the terrain. Like actually, the movie Quarter Point that my buddy Clay Porter and I are making right now, there's not a lot of heli-biking, like big mountain stuff in there. It's more, it's kind of everything else because we're basing it out of Oregon is like the only place we're filming the movie. So that we don't really have the terrain to be able to go like, if we were allowed to ride in like wilderness, like we could go drop in on South Sister and there's stuff you could ride, like lines down that, but we'd probably go to jail if we did that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like certain places, like couple of the films I've been able to be a part of, going up, like we went to the Yukon and floated this river called the Tachinchini and did this big like float trip, like float on rafts. There's a heli with us and there's some pretty insane terrain, like kind of on the border of Alaska and BC in the Yukon that we rode. And it was all heli stuff, like to access the stuff. It's super high alpine. And we were just scouting lines and going to the top, ripping ridges. And like that's super similar to AK. And then the coolest experience I've ever had is getting to film Red Bull Media House made a movie called North of Nightfall. And it was like on this island called Axel Heiberg that's like way up in the Canadian Arctic. And it's like 300 miles or something from the magnetic North Pole. So it was like pretty much as far away as you can get from anything and super inaccessible. And we went up there and camped for like a month and filmed this movie and had a ton of heli time. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about the heli time because the movie was kind of about, there's a lot of environmental plugs, but realistically, there's no other way we were going to be able to film that stuff. We did do a lot of hiking, but a lot of scouting in the heli and lots of heli drops. And and that was sweet. That was like as close as you can get to AK because we were just scouting lines, looking at them, studying them, going up, flying around, getting dropped, and then just ripping stuff raw and just hoping the run out is good. And same effect where, you have to like memorize the line. You're at the top and you can't remember like which spine is the right one to go down.
Roll. Yeah.
Blind roll. And you just drop in and it was steep, like really steep and long enough where, your brakes kind of stopped working. They'd overheat, get gnarly brake fade. And the only way to like control your speed was to carve. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened to be like the best dirt ever for that kind of riding. So it's a pretty epic trip. I don't know if I'll ever go anywhere cooler, but
named Axel too. That's crazy.
When you guys watch these guys come down the big faces, it's like snowboarding because you guys are basically like carving, and then you'll see like a finger, and just like you would whack a pow slash, you guys just like blow up the finger the same way you would, and just throw a bunch of roost, and then skid the whole way down, and you're basically just fishtailing the whole thing like you're carving. It's so sick to watch.
It's gotta be scary too, huh? If your brakes, you're depending on carving. That's
cool. It can get scary for sure. I've tomahawked a bunch.
And you're in the North Pole and there's no snow. It sounds like global warming is the real deal, huh?
Yeah, that was kind of where we were. It's an Arctic desert. So the island has always been kind of a desert. Doesn't get a lot of rain or snow in the winter. But the whole point was like the ice up there. Like the only other people that inhabit it like temporarily in the year is a group of scientists that are on the other side of the island, and there's a big glacier, and they've been studying it since like the 50s. Like I think it was like a Swedish program, I think. And so we got the chance to go over there and check it out and get on the ice with them, and they kind of gave us the whole breakdown of like how quickly it is melting and the impacts and just like the sea ice too, how it's like gotten so bad that I think they're going to start like doing cruise ships through the Northwest Passage. And that was the big thing because those things are not very environmentally friendly, and it's also kind of raping the most, untouched, uninhabitable spot on earth, you know, and for them to go through there, and you know, we learned a lot of history about the place and how many people died like hundreds of years ago trying to get to the North Pole, like ships getting stuck, people dying, 9 months of darkness, and so it's kind of a crazy place. And where we were on the island, like not many humans have like touched foot on it, so it's a pretty cool experience. But it was all kind of going back to the environmental effects of, I don't know, the climate crisis and what's going on. So it's really interesting, learned a lot. And yeah, I guess thanks to global warming, we're able to ride our bikes down fossilized epic dirt. So it's kind of
another.
It's not a good thing, but I mean,
another
we're not harming it too much. Yeah.
Another thing that I think is wild, like watching you guys, you know, hit step downs and stuff, like you know, especially kind of Rampage type terrain or anything like that. You look at essentially what you're jumping. You build the jump the same exact way for a step down on a snowboard. If you're in the backcountry, you're on top of a cliff. You basically just grab an heavy shovel, throw 20 scoops on it, pat it down with your board, and we're flying off of it. Then you guys, it's like a 5-day build for a pat down. You know, talk about how much work goes into building some of those jumps in those faces. Yeah,
it really depends. Like Utah, like where Rampage is held, the whole scene down there in southern Utah by St. George, that dirt and that terrain, it's kind of one of the only places in the world where it's like that, where it's kind of just the perfect mixture of crazy steep exposed terrain, but the dirt's really good and a lot of clay in it, so you can kind of turn anything into whatever you want. And yeah, so it's a lot of work, a lot of pickaxing at cliffs and backfilling stuff and shaping, slapping, getting a bunch of water on it. So it's definitely a lot of work. But as far as like I was down there for Red Bull Formation. It's kind of the women's Rampage event, which is pretty cool. They've kind of spearheaded that whole thing. But I went down to support it, and Brock Crouch actually came down with Aaron Blatt. They're hanging the whole time, so Brock got to get up there and dig. He was like digging his ass off. It was pretty sweet. He was super hyped on it, and I was there kind of to help him with whatever, like the builds, and I was kind of the guinea pig. So I remember guinea pigging this one pretty good sized step down, and Brock was kind of hanging there, and he was kind of tripping on how similar it is, like to guinea pig something blind and big like that in that sort of terrain that's super exposed and just super blind. And he was tripping on how similar it was. Like we place like rocks or sticks like right on the ride line where we want our tires to go through off the lip. And he was like, dude, we kind of do the same thing. And so that's another similarity.
For like snowboarders too, you have like, what if you want to find a sweet spot in the landing, you just take your edge or a shovel and you basically either make an arrow or a line,
just draw a
on
line.
them, and then you're just like, okay, I'm going to go off right here to make sure you're on target. And it's cool to hear you guys do the same thing.
Yeah, like I'll put rocks, and then I will get my front tire and like slowly skid it down exactly where the line is, where I want to go. And it just helps you in your head, and, you know, sometimes it's pretty necessary. But yeah, that's a huge similarity, and probably same feeling. It's pretty scary guinea pigging step downs. It's like probably the scariest, like a big step down on a bike. First time is like, or a flat drop. It's definitely the scariest thing to guinea pig for sure.
And then same thing with snowboarding too. They don't really have step downs like that in snowboard parks. Like you can't, like dropping out of the sky is a lot different than going off the arc of a park jump. So you got to learn how to like
tricking and spinning off a kicker, where it's step down.
Dude, I always feel like you initiate, like if you're gonna do a 540, you initiate like a 180 or something.
Yeah,
you know, you're like take it real slow off the lip.
Yeah.
That's a cool segue into you know, you grew up with Spencer Schubert, and for the listeners too, Ben Ferguson told me that you were doing cab nines when you're younger. You can rip on a snowboard, so his credibility is high on the board as well. But I want to talk about Spencer Schubert was telling me, oh, you're getting ready for Rampage, and you just showed up to a gigantic bike jump that was like, I don't know if it was a step down, and you just did a bunch, you did like 4 backflips, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go, or something like that. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I randomly saw Spenny for the first time in like a year. He was in Bend, and I saw him. He was riding road bikes around with, or no, I think he hit me up, and then I went and picked him up. He was riding bikes with another buddy we grew up with, and it was kind of like a little mini high school reunion, and picked up Spenny, and he just wanted to hang, and I was like, all right, I'm going to this spot. It's a public jump spot called The Lair in Bend, and there's this big step down there, and it's kind of like slightly a left hip step down, pretty big if you go deep, and you kind of have to go deep on it to get to the sweet spot. It's like the knuckles here, somebody put like 4x4 wood on the knuckle, so you kind of can't case it. And then it's like kind of flat, and then it rolls down again, and that roll is all like a rock layer, like volcanic rocks. You can't really pick it out. So we just throw dirt on it and slap it, and it's kind of like landing to like the second landing. And when you go to the second landing, it's like pretty good size, probably like 20-ish down and 35 out. And and I flipped it a bunch, and it's kind of a perfect warm up for, it's just one of those tricks. You don't do it. Like if you don't flip a step down in a while, it's scary. So it's perfect kind of prep just to get that in my head and know that I can do that one trick, It's same with spinning drops. There's not a lot of drops I can just like go spin and bend, I kind of have to build something. Like right now I'm going to go home while I'm hurt and, build a flat drop setup at my house just so I can get the muscle memory back, and then go to Utah and probably do it on something 4 times as big. But
step down training.
Step down, a flip on a backflip on a step down. That's insane.
Yeah, it's definitely like flipping step down is kind of high consequence, but it's one of those things you just initiate it, and then it's just another flip. Like once you're in the air, like the air awareness kind of takes over, and you know whether to tuck open a ball or open up, and as soon as you come around, it's just like flipping a jump.
Well, this in regards to earlier in our Patreon interview, you had a great quote, or I said, what was it? The question was best advice ever received, and I think that this ties really well into snowboarding or really anything. But if you wouldn't mind re-highlighting that answer you had.
Yeah. I said the best advice I've ever gotten is from Kurt Voorhees, who is a legend of our sport, kind of the OG, kind of created freeride, and he kind of put me under his wing. He lived in Bend for a long time, and he's like the reason I have my career. But he would always kind of emphasize to me and everybody else that he was kind of trying to bring up in the sport that if you're not having fun, then don't do it. Like stop. Like if you take mountain biking too seriously or anything, and you stop having fun, then you should just stop doing it and get a normal job. So that's something that really stuck with me, So it's my main goal. Like I ride the best when I'm having fun. When I'm stressed out, it's kind of inevitable when you're competing in certain scenarios, but once you get into it, you can always have fun. So I'm always just telling myself to have fun, and something that James kind of reiterates with me too is just like, just flow and just have fun. Like, you know what you're doing, and, worked a long time for this. So don't get too stressed out. Just go in there and just show them like what you do and just have fun with it, and that's when I kind of perform the best, when I'm just having fun and feeling like I'm on top of it. And yeah,
that's beautiful. Let's run back. We got a guest question from none other than Spencer Schubert. Here we go.
What up, Carson and the Bombhole boys? Hey, so I have a 2-part question for you. Is it easier to backflip a bike or a snowboard? And the second one is, remember those banana jumps? And we used to always steal sod out of those people's yards for the landings. How much grass do you think we stole? And now that you're a homeowner, what would you do if you saw some punk kids stealing grass out of your lawn? That's all I got. Love the show. Keep it up.
Good questions there.
Great question.
All right. First question, Spenny. Flipping a bike or snowboard? I mean, I could flip a snowboard way before I could flip a bike. And I'd say it's not really how much more difficult it is. I think it's just more consequential, and it's just different. So I don't know. I think it's kind of the same, because you still got to chuck yourself on a snowboard, and on a bike, it's kind of like you compress into the lip and pop and just tuck into a ball. And it's super similar, but yeah, you're just pulling the bike around instead of pulling the board around on your feet. I'd say bikes are more straightforward, because as long as you commit to it, it's just a backflip. You're going straight back. Snowboard, there's so many different ways you can flip something like Wildcat or, I don't know,
underflip style kind of,
off your edge
or
or
laid
back
out
rodeos.
Yep.
Or
Snowboarding's got to
underflips.
be way less, way easier to not get hurt.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I
for the
don't come
layman
around
there.
half the time on backflips and you're fine.
It's definitely less consequential.
Less
but,
consequential is what
But
I
I'd
was
say
looking
it's
for.
like pretty technical. Like a bike is so straightforward. When you start getting into like backflip variations, then it changes a lot. Like, it's probably a little harder than, I don't know. So,
And what about
similar.
part 2?
Part 2,
The sod stealing.
yeah, we had
Sod.
these jumps by Spencer's mom's house called the banana jumps, and it was just full poach, like somebody's lot that they hadn't built a house on yet, and had these sweet jumps going, building it by hand, and we would just like steal wood, everything we could, because there's like that development, it was just growing, and there's like houses getting built all over the place, we'd steal all sorts of wood and sod and kind of use the sod to like fill, like throw wood in there and throw dirt on it so we didn't have to dig as much dirt. And it was pretty janky, but I don't know how much sod. We stole a lot of shit though, like a lot of wood. Like nowadays, like the wood price is going on.
Yeah, that's like gold.
Probably
That's
go
like
to jail
stealing
right
gold.
now.
Yeah, you get caught.
Go to
and
juvie.
You get chased down.
So hypothetically, let's say you got some bunch of wood and sod on your property, and some asshole kids are come through and steal it. What? How are you going to react to that? Now
I'd
as a
be
homeowner,
so pissed. Like, I'm bummed that I did. I mean,
You
we
wouldn't
were
look
just
the
kids,
other
we
way
didn't
because
know.
you used to do it if you knew they
Hell
were
no.
on bikes.
No, I don't even know what I'd do. I'd probably call some Groms and Ben and be like, "Go beat these kids up." 'Cause I can't do it.
Send the Groms after them.
Be like, you want to ride my jumps? Like, go beat these kids up, and you're in.
he goes mafia style on him. I like that mafia approach.
Yeah.
I like
Send
that.
the Groms.
Yeah, we were dicks. We didn't even know what we were doing either. We were like, oh, whatever. There's a whole stack of wood right there. We'll steal all the I-beams and 2x6s.
Dude, yeah, like the GC shows up and he's just like, where the fuck is our wood?
Yeah.
A little mellower. It was a lot cheaper then. but
True.
Now
It
it's
was a
gnarly.
lot cheaper.
Yeah.
True. I think it's a great time to get into the Liquid Death spinning wheel of death. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the Liquid Death.
Death, death, death. Spinning wheel of death.
Are you drinking a Liquid Death right now, buds?
Yes, I am. I got the.
How's it going down?
The bubbly style, and it is going down smoother than ever, keeping me cool.
Oh, nice. In these hot summer temps, it's good to just stay hydrated and crush some can, if you will.
Crush some can.
One thing that's great about Liquid Death is you're not contributing to all the plastic in the world. You know?
No, and you know what, dude? I got a recent package from them, and I got to say, I drink these things like they're going out of style, man.
How many do you think you put down a day?
Dude, I actually drank like 6 yesterday.
Wow.
Of the normal non-carbonated water. It's just crushable. Stay hydrated. It's good for you.
You know, it's nice. You drink it, you don't get a DUI if you get in your car after.
No,
you
you can have a sixer.
It looks like a beer. You show up to a party. You know, sometimes you don't want to get shit faced. So you show up to a party, you got a Liquid Death. Nobody's gonna really bust your balls.
And if you are drinking, do the old program where every 3 beers, pound of Liquid Death.
See, that's a pro tip.
That's a pro tip. You're not going to be hungover the next day.
If you're interested in getting some Liquid Death, head on over to liquiddeath.com/thebombhole. You'll get a couple free koozies. It supports the show. Again, liquiddeath.com/bombhole, and get ready to crush some can.
And you know you're going to buy some Liquid Death, so get it off the site. Hook us up.
And I think it's time to spin the wheel. So you're going to basically spin this thing, and we'll tell you what you land on. Give it a good spin.
Good spin.
All right. Should I be scared?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Very afraid.
All right.
Smelling salt to shotgun.
To shotgun in a wig.
In a wig.
Smelling salts to shotgun in a wig. That's beautiful.
We got a
Man.
blonde wig.
So
Blonde
usually we've been
today?
hitting the wig lately. So the wig we usually recommend wearing for about 5 minutes.
You don't want to wear it too long.
Yeah.
Our last guest might have wore it for about 25.
Our last guest was
I like
telling,
wigs.
Our last guest was telling us a story about getting stuck in an avalanche while wearing the wig.
He forgot he was wearing
and
it.
I couldn't I couldn't take him seriously. It was kind of
Chris had a big smile on his face the whole time.
this
Serious
is not
story.
a funny time to be laughing. And so we have what's called Run Through a Wall smelling salts. It's our Bombhole smelling salt company. We started joking around about it, and then our listeners actually wanted some. Unfortunately, there's a national back order on smelling salts that were sold out. But we've sold some bottles, and essentially, so what I would do is first throw on the wig.
Yep.
And then you'll crack one of these.
Yeah.
And then you're going to shotgun a pub beer as well right after. So it's kind of a 3-parter. So
Yeah.
wig, get ready in the wig first. Oh, dude, that's
yeah.
dude. If you need to rebrand yourself,
Yeah.
a blonde wig, that's a look.
Dude, that
Yeah.
is a look.
Look like
Especially with the
Mike Hucker.
Yeah, there you go.
with
Yeah,
the hat,
He has
the
more
hair
of a mullet
flowing.
going on,
yeah,
but
dude, yeah. That is a Mike Hucker look right there.
Dude,
Okay,
that's a
so
good look right
kinda
there.
itchy.
and then grab the drill
All right.
and make sure it's in
Oh, that's right.
forward.
We're going power drills to
So
shotgun.
we have a make sure you're in frame as well. So yeah, you should be good right there.
Yeah.
All right.
First, what you're gonna want to do is you crack this,
Yeah.
you squeeze it, and then
Squeeze it.
give it a big sniff. Don't go crazy. Just give it a little, and then hand it to us. Me and Buds like to whack the smelling
we
salts.
like to whack the leftovers.
It wakes us up, and then once you're done the smelling salts, hit a shotgun.
All right.
Okay.
I might need to stand up for the shotgun.
Okay,
I'm
that
not the
should
best
work.
shotgunner. I'll
Should
try,
I
though.
check the frame?
Check the frame make sure he's in frame. Once he if you need to zoom out, you can. Okay. Squeeze the smelling salt first.
Yeah, we're gonna lose them. So should I back?
Yeah, back it out a little bit. How's that? Can you see him?
Now we're good.
Okay, we're in business. All right, give that smelling salt a squeeze and a sniff first.
So you just
Squeeze it; it'll pop. Now give it a big whiff.
Oh fuck! Oh, that's fucking spicy. Yeah, I didn't realize it's gonna be that gnarly.
Oh yeah, it's a spicy one.
Oh my god! All right.
Okay, yeah, you crack a can with a drill.
Oh, it's kind of sharp. Sorry. Oh, I went through it. Okay.
And down the hatch, she is putting the pub beer down. And what a champion! Oh, great performance.
I accidentally went through the can a little bit.
Oh wow, a little better airflow. It probably came out better. Also, minor spillage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 barrel. It's a good beer to shotgun.
Yep.
That was something.
Nice work on that. That was a great performance.
Thanks. Yeah.
I like the power drill adage.
Yeah. Nothing like a good power tool to.
So you are because pub beer is also part of 10 barrel.
Yep.
And you're a 10 barrel athlete as well, right?
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. They support mountain bikers as well as snowboarders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think they kind of started their program with sponsoring athletes and doing events in the action sports side like in 2017 and the beginning of 2017. So that's when I signed with them. Same with Fergie, Ben, and
They got Curtis Cizik as well.
they got Curtis,
Solid.
Eric Jackson.
It's a great team.
Yeah. And
And they're supporters of the show. Shout out to Grady, always having her back. So,
thanks, Grady.
yeah.
That beer went down smooth. It looked like too.
Yeah. I
Maybe
got a
because you
little,
went all the
I
way
got a little
through.
choke in it right here, so it ripped through. But yeah, it kind of ruined your new carpet and your new studio here.
I have a
But I'm sure it's
feeling
not the
that's-
first time.
That's
so
okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it was the first time, but it won't be the last.
It won't be the last.
The thing that with Buds and I, you got to realize is that like we feel in our element. Like I like to keep trash all on the backside of the studio.
Yeah.
The electrician work that I've done with the wiring is a disaster. We kind of like to replicate my garage, which is a complete junk show. So a little bit of spillage is good
Yeah.
for us. We
Kind
kind
of
of
keep it comfortable.
we're thriving.
Keeps
Yeah.
us feeling good.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. Well, let's dive right into some Rampage stuff. Yeah, you can probably remove the wig at this
Yeah, I'll
point.
take the wig off.
I mean, it is good, but when you start talking about serious serious
It was a
stuff,
good look though.
let's dive right into. I actually have the clip. Let me pull it up. But talk about 2016, your experience there, because that was a huge moment in your career, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a turning point. And yeah, the first time I got invited to Rampage was 2014. I was like 21. And yeah, I was like full in the slope style scene. And that was kind of the whole, the whole premise of my career at that point was like fully focused on slope style. And then back then we have a thing called the FMB World Tour. It's like the governing organization body that, the whole point system for the slope style tour. And Rampage was a part of that, which was kind of weird because Rampage is like that whole side of the sport. It's almost like a different sport than slope style, and so it's based off of like your ranking. So I think top 10 in the world tour got invited to Rampage. And so at that point, like 2014 was kind of like my breakout year in slope style. Like got decent placing in like all the big contests, and then ended up being top 10 and getting invited to Rampage. And at that point I had like no interest in that side of the sport. I just thought it was too gnarly. I grew up in Bend riding dirt jumps and didn't have that much experience on a big bike. So it was my first year, went full survival mode. Then there's qualifying. So I qualified, which was crazy. And then I ended up getting like 12th place or 14th place or something, but I was just hyped to get a rundown, and make it through the qualifying, get into finals and get a run. And and then 2015 survival mode again. I was really terrified. I competed slopestyle all year, and then just went and did that. Definitely did some more preparation and work going into it, and then ended up getting hurt practice and spraining my ankle super bad, so I didn't even get to compete. And then that's when Red Bull signed me at that event. So it's kind of a little bit of a wash. It was like they were hoping I was going to qualify, and then they were going to present me with this Red Bull helmet as a surprise. And then when I got hurt, they're like, oh, well, surprise. And I was like, thanks. Didn't compete. And then, going into 2016, had a couple other little injuries that were kind of lagging. And, didn't have the best year competing slopestyle. Filmed a bunch. Like, it was a all right year, and it was my first year on Red Bull, so I was kind of tripping out on, like, am I doing good enough? I'm, blowing it in the slopes, like all the contests, And then got invited to Rampage again and went. Kind of didn't have any expectations for myself. I was just feeling good on my big bike. Just got back from a trip that film in the Yukon called Riding the Tachincini. So I just got all that experience, and it was new. It was the first time I've, like, been in a heli, dropping lines, like riding the big mountain stuff, and feeling pretty confident on my bike. But going into Rampage that year, I was like, just wanted to survive. But I found this big drop I wanted to spin, and just kind of committed to the build.
I have the clip.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So I decided to do that.
Watch this thing. This is this giant 360 like heard around the world.
Lord.
Dropping in. Yeah, coach.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, dude. Look at this thing. Yeah, coach. Dude, that was hog show.
That's
Thanks. Yeah.
That's huge, dude.
So it was my first big move, and I was just feeling good at that event. I was having fun, and didn't really expect to do good. And then all of a sudden my, score stuck, and I ended up on the podium getting third place, and then the 3-drop 1 best trick. And then it kind of just catapulted me into freeride. Like all the companies I rode for just wanted me to focus on film, freeride, less slope style. And, so it kind of like forced me into the freeride thing. But then once I started kind of focusing on that full time, I realized like that's what I really wanted to be doing, and had the most fun on a downhill bike doing tricks and filming, and a little less pressure of the whole slopestyle scene. It's gnarly. It's like scary. It's super unpredictable.
You gotta have a million
tough.
tricks. You gotta have 8 million jump tricks.
Yeah,
psycho ones.
For the layman, slope style is just going down.
It's like a bike park where you hit a shitload of jumps and stuff like that.
It's like pretty much exactly the same as slopestyle snowboard, and ski, but it's like, so it's a pre-built course, and the features, it's kind of like BMX, BMX dirt, but imagine BMX dirt, but the jumps are bigger, and there's different features like flat drops and step downs, but it's like one course, and you just get judged on a run. So it's just like slopestyle snowboarding.
So now they want you doing the big dog
then
stuff.
he wants like basically, it's basically a natural selection at 8K kind of thing.
Yeah. So it kind of just gave me the opportunity to just focus on freeride and focus on the big bikes, and focus on film, and so kind of work.
You say big bikes, is sort of the bikes a lot different too?
They're downhill bikes, yeah.
Okay.
So the bikes that we do like Rampage on, a lot of the big mountain stuff, and riding bike parks, like Whistler Bike Park, or downhill bikes, and they're set up really stiff, kind of for tricks, and and then like slope style, they're like smaller bikes. It's like a dirt jump bike with a rear shock, or some people just run like a hardtail dirt jump bike, and it's kind of like a whole different sport within the sport. Like it's still kind of under the freeride umbrella, but it's pretty specific, and
it's like a hybrid between a BMX and a mountain bike.
It's so much like snowboarding, huh? It's so cool.
Yeah, like a lot of the slope style dudes like can't do what the freeride guys do, just with the experience and on the different bikes. And then a lot of the freeride guys can't really do the whole slope style thing and drop in and do like a backflip tail up on a jump, or.
And you're kind of an ATV, huh? Because you've done them before.
I like to just keep my tricks in slope style. I'm not progressing. Like when I in 2019, obviously last year there wasn't really anything to do, no contest or anything, but 2019 I did a few slopestyle contests just for fun, like no expectations, and basically my whole goal is I just want to keep my tricks, and I still really like riding those contests, and just being a part of that scene. So I just kind of do it for fun, and kind of going for like top 10 if I can. I don't really care. I don't really care if I win, because I know I'm not going to, because the level is so much higher than when I was doing it. But I'm still stoked. Like 2019, I got a few top 10s, and
they also have it's almost like a moto aspect. They have best whip contests. So like the way you see a dirt bike do a whip, these guys can do whips. And then there's also downhill in mountain biking, which is almost like, I'd almost like it into like motocross. It's like racing downhill, and it is psycho. It's all psycho, but there's kind of three segments. It's like you got your free ride, your your slope style, and then you got your downhill, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I
downhill.
saw
is like-
images of him doing whips last night, and I was hyped.
Yeah, whips are the best. They're the most fun for sure. Whips and flat spins on a downhill bike. That's kind of the, in my opinion, the most fun things to do. And yeah, like the downhill, like the race side of the sport, there's like slalom, downhill, enduro. It's almost like a completely different sport, Like we can ride with those dudes and ride bike park, ride trails, whatever, but like they can't really do what we do, and we can't. A lot of us can't keep up with them. Although there is a few guys like Kyle Strait, Cam Zink, who grew up racing, and they can go race a downhill or go race an enduro and do really good. Or Ryan Howard just won like an big enduro race, which is crazy. And yeah, but he's like a free rider, probably the most stylish dude on a bike in our sport, But then he just went and won like a pretty big enduro, the TDS enduro. So there's guys that can do it all. It's all kind of one thing, but there's a lot of specific sides of the sport. If you're like super heavily focused on it, it's kind of, that's the thing. But mountain biking's really spread across the board, like
Going back to Rampage stuff, you were explaining to me on the way here exactly how big Rampage is. Explain the reach it has and how it's basically like the Super Bowl of your sport, or even bigger than that,
Yeah, like to my knowledge, it's definitely the biggest event in our sport. And yeah, and the last I heard, it gets more numbers in X Games, and the only thing that gets more numbers is the Olympics, maybe, or it does for sure. But yeah, it's crazy. That was like Rampage 2019. The numbers were really good, and it's crazy just how much reach it gets, because it kind of reaches out to way more of the mainstream, the mainstream people than like a Crankworks like slopestyle will, because it's so niche and so within the sport, it's like epic to watch, but it's hard for people to understand and know what it is. Where Rampage, people don't really understand it, but they watch it because it's like,
Yeah, anyone can watch that clip of you and be like, what is going on?
like
Let's go.
I just hear like so many people, like, if people ask me what I do, I say I ride mountain bikes professionally or whatever. And they're like, oh, like what kind? And I say free ride. And they're like, oh, I don't really know what that is. And they're like, are you like, is it like the Moab, like Utah stuff? Even though it's not Moab, but that's kind of the general thing I get.
Got that
like,
look.
Riding down like the ridges, the red dirt in Nevada or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's that one. That's what I do.
It.
And they're always like, oh, you guys are fucking crazy, And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, so it just reaches to like such a broad range of people.
How many guys are doing it?
It's always been like 18. And then this year, or it might have been 21. And then this year they lowered it to 15. I don't know why.
I just mean like in the world, how many
Oh.
guys are like badass on your level, able to stand up to those conditions and jump that kind of stuff? And
There's a lot.
There is.
Like the free ride side of the sport is definitely really
and they
big
go that
right now.
big.
It's definitely alive. It depends, yeah. But it's a hard one because Rampage is so hard to get into, and then it's so hard to stay in. Like you're never really guaranteed like an invite back unless you're top 10 the year before, So I'm lucky. I've been top 10 for the past few years, and not on the podium, which kind of sucks. Just whatever. But so I've been in it, but to get in it, there's not a lot of spots, but there's like probably like over 100 dudes who are pretty qualified to get in it. So it's pretty gnarly to get into. And that's like the only bummer with our side of the sport. There's not like a lot of platforms for people to like get into an event like Rampage. There's no like free ride world tour of events. But although it's kind of in the works and it's an idea, like Todd Barber, who's the event coordinator at Rampage, he's doing an event this year actually near Bend, Proving Grounds, and his goal is to like turn it into a competitive series like around the world, like do like 3 or 4 stops around the world. They're all free ride based, and it's Proving Grounds in 2019. It was a Rampage qualifier, like the first one ever. Before it was just like basically off of like video parts and hype and just your name, you're killing it, and you're obviously like
invite only.
You just get invited just off of like how hard you're killing it. But then that was a qualifier, and they ended up inviting like I think 3 people or 4 people to it from that event. But then Red Bull didn't want to have it a qualifier again, and so then Todd just turned it into a one-off free ride competition. So a bunch of us that are already in Rampage are doing that contest, and there's some other guys that aren't in like big name dudes aren't in the big show, but they're doing proving grounds. But yeah, if it turns into a series, and then if even there's like a qualifying series for it to get into like the proving grounds world tour or the freeride world tour, you know, that's kind of the goal. Because right now it's pretty exclusive and it's really hard to get into. And yeah, there's just so much talent, like so many young kids that are like driven. And I think social media has helped, like, you know, make it so it's like kids can get into the sport and start getting like deals and start getting sponsored off of social media when there's only like one contest to do in freeride, and it's the biggest one in our sport, you know? So I feel like the inclusiveness needs to grow, and it'll take time, but yeah, freeride's alive, and I think, yeah, there's a little bit more competitive aspect. And
You know what I'd like to see as a viewer from Rampage is like just how gnarly it is. You're watching it on TV. You guys go down. You make it look pretty easy. I think they should try to find volunteer civilians
throw me in
with
there,
no
man.
bike experience, with like little bike experience, to go down Rampage course and just put them in like a full body suit with as many pads as you can.
If you hit this course, this is what will happen.
Like just kind of like to give you a perspective of what it looks like when a civilian goes off of this stuff. I think that would be you should pitch that to Red Bull and just see what they think. So it gives you a better grasp on
How
exactly
hard it really is.
how difficult and how gnarly it is, and how they make these steep faces look so easy. You
just
know?
sign the biggest waiver ever created.
A 40-page waiver.
Yeah.
Throw like hockey goalie pads on and everything else you can find.
Offer them a significant amount of cash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sign the waiver. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, it is gnarly, and it's like really exposed, and the only way to really experience it and like give it justice is to be there in real life and see it, you know? Like my parents came for the first time in 2019, and they're freaking out. Like I feel bad for my mom. She, you know, hates what I
She
do.
was
but
not liking
she likes
it.
But she, you know, I'm like why they drink, I think. Or that event might be. But
Yeah. Send a little love.
yeah.
I want to go watch this in person.
But
Let's
it's
drive down there,
But
man.
it's also like so fun, and it's the best terrain, and it's exposed, and you have to be on it, you know. But it's like what all of us work for. We're just, you know, the only way to like do good at that event is to like have experience and do them and be in that terrain and be in that setting, and just kind of like Alaska, right? Like
You can't take a park kid and throw
you
him in
can't
Alaska.
just no.
No.
It's dangerous. Like you have to. I mean, obviously the snow is different, you know, because that's the real danger there. Like you can tomahawk and fuck yourself up, but really it's like the snow.
Slough management, not getting in avalanches.
Yeah,
things
and
like
that comes with experience.
Yeah.
And same with Rampage. It's like it's like very specific type of riding, and the dirt's really specific, and you kind of just have to get your tires in the dirt and just experience it. And then when it comes to like the event and you're building all this stuff that's like way over your head and it's fucking scary and you're terrified, but it all comes down to like preparation and just experience. And then once you're doing it and, you know, getting the flow and you're guinea pig and stuff and it's working, it's fun. But then on the outside, like a lot of people look, it's like, you guys are stupid. Like it's unnecessary, you know? It's like, no, it's just like the progression of it. It's like, it's just fun. Yeah, it's fun.
It's
and
just like anything you could say is stupid because they're
Yeah.
going too big.
Well, the
but for
footage
you
looks
guys,
cooler than
yeah.
a bike park when you see somebody
For
doing
sure.
a big
Yeah,
step
way
down and
cooler.
riding a natural spine. Like it's incredible. you
Yeah,
know?
it's just creative. Like it's cool because it's a contest. It's a huge one, but you get to express your creativity in the way you see freeride mountain biking. Like everybody builds their dream line that's like exactly how they envision the sport, you know. Like, and so it's cool because there's a lot of creativity involved in it still, and you can push yourself to go as big as you want to go, or you don't have to go big. You can go fast. You can ride steeps. Like
I have a question in regards to that. So how does it work? Because I imagine you guys all look at this face, and a lot of people are thinking, "I want that line. I want that line." Are people fighting over lines, or how does it work for lines? Is there a pecking order?
honestly, kinda, but there's never been a real fist fight, but it's been close. There's been some drama, but for the most part, like, you know, everybody's pretty PC with all of it, and you just have to work with everybody. Especially like this year is like a fresh site, and so it's completely untouched, and it's the most work you can do it. Like it's insane. Like every first year site, it's the craziest amount of work ever. You kind of have to team up with people, you know. You just pick and choose and just work with people, and you know, if it's like one big feature that's kind of like the epitome of your line, like the big focal point of your line, like you just have to decide, like, do I want this to be one off and waste like 5 of the 8 days building this, or do I want to team up with somebody and just make sure they're going to do a different trick than me, where, you know, so it's a lot of give and take, and you kind of have to work with people. And there's been like I won't name any names, but a lot of dudes that are like really hard to work with and really, not very receptive to like working together with people. And, but I feel like it's chilled out a lot, and everybody, like, we're all there to get down the mountain, like we want everybody to succeed and not get hurt. And, but then at the same time, it's the biggest contest in our sport. So it's like you want to do good. So it's a balance of trying to just, play nice, but also, be a little selfish for, why you're there. And you want to stand out, and you want to, have your line be as unique as you can. And so it's a weird one. You just have to, there's some politics with it for sure. You just
I
have
didn't
to
know you
work
had to
with
build
everybody.
your own features.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a big part of the whole show. The whole like Rampage, they sell the storyline of basically like building the line, showing up, building it. You have a small crew. It's the whole. That's a cool part for the viewer is the build process, and they package that into the whole experience when you watch it on TV and everything, and it's great.
What kind of cheddar biscuits we talking at this contest?
Yeah, what are we talking for Bisq on the top? It's top of the
Pretty
box.
good. As far as mountain biking goes, probably the biggest payout. I think first place is like 65 or 70 grand, and then it kind of goes down from there. So yeah, if you win, you're doing pretty good.
You get a bag of loot right there.
And you got an energy drinks and giving you some little
the bonus.
bony cash on that.
Yeah.
Little incentive.
The Zamboni.
But like, get that Zamboni extra biscuits.
A bag just turned into 2 bags.
Yeah.
Let's drive the Zamboni home. Let's go.
Yeah, it does good, and they pay out to everybody. Like everybody in it gets money.
Get an appearance fee.
You get an appearance fee, and then the breakdown of the payout is kind of dispersed throughout all 18 or all 15 or whatever.
So everybody's getting paid.
Yeah. So it's good, and a lot of the time it's like, kind of comparing to like street league, like that payout's fucking good.
Yep.
Right? Like what is it, like 100 grand or is
I know
it more?
it was initially Psycho. I think it's dropped down a little bit. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
But it's like, like some of us still feel that like maybe it could be more, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really good. And it's not even the money. It's like you do good at that event and you go down in the history books as like, podium
It's
or
like the
winning
Olympic.
it.
It's like
Yeah,
the
you're the
Olympics.
big
in mountain
dog.
It's
biking,
like, it
basically.
can make or break your career. Like it made my career, and and I'm still on a mission. Like I really want to win it, and I'm trying really hard, and I'm going to keep trying. And it kind of goes back to the Kurt Voorhees thing. If I'm not having fun, I'm going to stop. Like as soon as I get to a point with that event where I feel like my confidence isn't there, I'm not really in it, then I'm going to stop doing it. But right now in my foreseeable future, like I really enjoy it. It's scary, but it's like, it's really cool to be involved with. And it's not really about the money. It's about just kind of the prestige that goes along with it. And you kind of just go down the history books and you become a legend. Like every dude that's won that is a complete legend in our sport and will, live on. So it's less about like how much money you're going to get if you win. It's like, I win this to make my career like 10 years longer.
It's a little bit about the
I'll
money.
never forget too watching Cam Zink's gigantic backflip, dude. And I don't know shit about mountain biking, but I was just like, I know who Cam Zink is, and I know I'll never forget that backflip.
He's the man. He's the king of like big sends, putting it all on the line, and that's why he's Cam Zink. Like that event has like made his career, and he has the mental, strength to just like, be the age he is now. And, he's had such a long career with so many ups and downs, but still it always comes down to like, that is his focus, is like, he's going to push himself hard at that event. And it's epic. Like he's the man. And, he's also a big inspiration to me. He's a good buddy of mine, but still a huge inspiration. And, one of those guys that he puts it on the line every time, and he's still having fun with it, and it's pretty rad.
Okay, we're going to get into a little segment we like to call Pub Beer Crapshoot. Now, what you do is you roll dice, and whatever you land on is one of these 12 things. Now, sometimes we read them off, but it takes a long time. But first of all, Pub Beer is a huge supporter of the show. If you're looking to crush some cold ones in this beautiful summer we're having, get yourself a Pub Beer. It's cheap. It's probably the cheapest beer you can find at 7-Eleven.
Hashtag cheap fun beer.
And it is an absolute fantastic way to get shit-faced.
And it's hot out there. These beers are cold. Crush them.
Okay.
It's probably the best way to get shit-faced.
Okay, so what you're going to want to do, roll these things up, drop them on the table, and we'll tell you what you have to do, whatever the numbers land on. We got 6. Okay. Who is your favorite person to party with?
I don't know. Me and Ben have had a pretty good little run.
Ben Ferguson?
Ben Ferguson, yeah. I like partying with Ben.
He's a professional partier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard you guys like to wrestle, and you guys like to try to fight each other.
He likes to wrestle. And
So he
then
comes at you, he instigates.
usually, yeah.
Okay, what's
90% of the time.
who's got the winning record is what I want to know.
I've never lost to Ben.
Oh wow.
That's, I want to know what Ben's going to say to that. I guess he's probably doesn't want to get beat down again, so
he knows. I don't
agree.
like wrestling my friends. I don't like wrestling in general. I just I can't. I get at some point I just get angry, and Ben knows that. So we had a handshake deal. We're like we're not going to wrestle again. Or at least if we do, it's not going to be on asphalt. It'll be on like a, I don't know, like a bed, like a pillow fight or something's chill. But
pillow fight.
I'd like to see like an action sports celebrity UFC fight between you two guys. And
Remember
just-
they used to have those boxing matches in Vegas. Might be before your time, but they used to do that. Just set up full on snowboard. This guy's fighting that guy. Let's do
That's
it.
awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, walk out. You'd have your theme song. What would you walk out to
Ooh,
if you're
that's
coming
an
out to the
important
ring? Like
question.
you playing Iron Maiden? You playing
for a fight,
Yeah, for a fight. What do
Your
you
boxing match.
You know?
Stranglehold by Ted Nugent for
Oh.
sure.
Quick with it too.
My
huh?
favorite song, yeah.
Wow, that's
would
slap
you
some
go with?
respect on that. For me, oof. That's a tough one, man. I've never even he came up with
Yeah, I
that
couldn't-
quick.
how do you-
I would almost go
he's-
like I could see like Thunderstruck. That
yeah.
song's electric. Come out with Thunderstruck. Like everybody's on their feet.
Yeah, everyone.
AC/DC.
Oh,
That
Yeah.
starts up. Yeah.
What
that's
about you?
great.
But I could see you coming out with some reggae vibes. Like coming out with like some
The
real-
Rasta attack machine, dude. I don't know, dude. I'm not really a fighter. I don't think you'd see me. in that ring.
Hypothetically, this is a hypothetical situation.
Maybe Easy or something.
Okay.
Come
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Come really hard from the streets.
You know what also hit is like some old G Unit.
Oh,
Some like
G-Unit.
like original G Unit. Some old 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
G-Unit. I'd get Who Kid to be the DJ, and I'd have G Unit. Then that would work.
I'd probably have DJ Matty Mo like just kind of aggressively beating the dead horse with the air horn the entire time walking up.
Just an air horn, no music.
Just repeat air horn the entire time.
Let's go.
Yeah, that could hit. I definitely whack a bunch of run through a wall smelling salt.
I'd have
previous
them
to
like
fighting.
as I walk, people are handing me new ones. Snap, snap, boom, snap,
Dude, the
snap. 20 of them by the
smelling
time I
salt.
get up there.
Do you think
Caught me off guard for
do,
sure.
Do you think maybe it's something you might hit at the top of Rampage this year? Whack a smelling salt, drop into Rampage?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it
gonna
might
give
have-
it a little-
It doesn't have much juice left in it.
It's still a little juice.
Hey, we
It's
could
a
hit,
little juicy.
We could hit
No,
another
it's
one
insane.
if we need to wake up.
It's
It's a very unique smell.
We're about what halfway through the show.
Yeah.
My nostrils are getting a little. I think
Dude,
they're getting.
remember,
abused.
man, there's a shortage of those. We might never.
Okay.
But that's not to say we shouldn't
Okay.
snap another
All right,
one. We
perfect.
should.
Yeah, let's hit another
If
one.
we need to,
Let's hit
we
another
should,
one. Wake up, dude. I'm telling you, potentially, if Run Through a Wall gets big enough, I could see us trying to outbid Red Bull. Just imagine Run Through a Wall smelling salt's helmet dropping into Rampage. Just
Or we would have our own event going on.
yeah, the Run Through a Wall Rampage.
Yeah.
just rip off the whole thing.
Keep the Rampage part, but drop Red Bull, throw in bottom hole. Let's go.
oh, I'm scared.
I can't get Thunderstruck out of my head now.
Yeah,
Dude, it's so spicy. If you give it a good whiff,
It's
Yeah.
spicy.
it's a spicy delight.
made my
yeah.
eyes water.
Oh, yeah. I got spiced. Woo, I'm the sixth Spice Girl right now, Doc. My eyes are
Are
watering.
you Dumpy Spice in the words? Words of
Dumpster
Jessica Mira?
Spice.
Dumpster Spice.
I'm sniffing Spice, dude. The one that got kicked off the crew. Too much sniffery.
Yeah, the one you never heard about. There's actually, I heard there's a documentary coming out on
There is.
Sniffy Spice
On Sniffy
on
Spice.
HBO in a few weeks.
She would
where-
sniff everything.
A little "Where Is She Now" piece.
Yeah, where is she now? Nobody knows.
So I think this is actually a great time to segue into a question from Ryan Runke, who is your agent and also just an incredible human all around. Here we go.
What's up, Bombhole? Ryan Runke here. Big fan of what you guys are doing. Got a question for Carson Storch. Carson, when you got third place and I believe best tricked at Rampage, the after party ended up in Vegas. Walk us through the details of your Vegas after party, good, bad, and ugly.
love where this is headed.
Look forward to hearing you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Runky.
I could talk about it. I mean, he is my agent, so I can't really. If he told me to say good, bad, and ugly, then it's on him. You know.
He briefed me. He expects you to throw him under the bus, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So I unexpectedly did good at Rampage, like I was talking about, and then Rampage. There's an after party in this little town called Springdale, kind of like right at the gates of Zion and Zion National Park. And it's at kind of like this restaurant with the only bar there. But anyways, got super drunk. Obviously, I was psyched. And, stuff happened, and it was fun, whatever. Went to bed, was drunk the next day. And then Runky called. He's like, just got his shoulder operated on. So he was all hopped up on painkillers. And he's like, Carson, all right, you're going to Vegas tonight. And I was going to drive home because I already did the after party. I was just going to go home. And then, so he kind of told me we're going to Vegas. He got a room at one of the spots, forgot what it was called. And, we just packed up. I had my trailer with me, like camper, and packed all the shit in there. Had my moto in the back of my truck, all my bikes, and just tools all over the place. Drove to Vegas. My mom and sister are horse people, so they were at a horse event there, like a horse show. And so I asked my mom if I could park my truck and trailer at the horse arena place and leave it there behind a locked gate. Drove it there. Moto was unlocked. Bikes in the back of my truck. Just left it there, and went and met Runky at the hotel room. And it just so happened there's an event called Red Bull Air. Damn, what's it called? It's like an air race, Red Bull Air Race or something like that. Yeah. Yep. So there's a bunch of Red Bull employees there, and Runky kind of linked up, and we all kind of grouped together, and and it turned into like bottle service at this one club. I was instantly just hammered, like so blackout drunk, and I was trying to dance with a girl on top of this, like, the bottom of the club. It's kind of like a stadium style thing. We're at the base of it, and I was on like the top of this like seating thing, and it's kind of like plastic and wet, and I was spilling my drink all over the place, and I ended up slipping out, and I like looped out off the top of the thing like 5 feet to my back onto the ground, hit my head super hard, knocked the wind out of myself, and I was just laying on the ground like, and then the bouncer just grabbed me and drugged me out, and then Runky and everybody convinced him to let me stay there. So they let me come back, and then,
Sounds like you almost got concussed at the club.
Also,
for sure.
Also, it sounds to me a lot like the grape lady fall. Have you ever seen the lady crushing grapes?
Oh,
and
yeah.
She tips over.
Yeah.
And she knocks the wind out of herself, but she's mic'd up.
I didn't freak out that bad. I don't mind the wind knocked out of me. It's just you can't not make the.
So you went 75%.
I didn't do the whole.
I can't breathe.
That's a great video. Yeah, I don't know. I was just super drunk, and there's all these people, and I don't know, Runky, we went to the Spearmint Rhino strip club.
Of course you did.
Runky got me like $1,500 worth of fun coupons, he called them. Like he prepaid for, cash, and I got in there, got one drink, sat at the, stage or whatever, and passed out. And I got kicked out. Didn't spend $1 of Runky's fun coupons.
With all your Runky bucks, you didn't?
Yeah,
You didn't spend Runky
he's
bucks.
still pissed at me because I wasted $1,500 that he
That's a
got
good
me.
agent right there. That's
Yeah.
what that is.
Oh yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, and then I ended up being there for like 3 nights and 4 days, and it was just a shit show. I'd lost like probably a year off my life and just partying so hard, and I don't know, I just couldn't leave. Just everybody kept coming there, and it was just crazy. Like Sorgi came, he's another rider, and he got 4th at that event, and then we were all hanging out, and then we just kind of never left. And then when I drove home, I was just like, it was just horrible. It took me like 20 hours to get home because I had to pull over and sleep like every 2 hours.
Runky said you guys were supposed to be there 12 hours. You ended up being there like 57 hours.
Yeah, I was there for 3 nights. That's all I know. And then
blew out his shoulder. Like
Yep.
his arm will never be the same, basically.
Yeah.
The drive to Vegas versus drive home is always an interesting one.
Yeah.
You're so excited, and then I've been driving home, and I've been like, I hope the semi literally runs me
Yeah,
over
the
right now.
depression.
Like I just want to like basically grab the wheel, hook my truck right into this ditch, and just be done.
Yeah, just please take me away.
No, it was fun though. There's a time in the place. Like,
Well, there is. I mean, geez,
time and
you
a place
just-
to rage, and that was a good scenario to go rage. Not something I'm trying to do all the time.
No.
Like, I don't really like Vegas at all, and I haven't been there since. So I just told myself, like, if I win or get top 3 again, like, we'll probably go to Vegas again. But
Yeah.
unless that happens, I'm not going to that shithole. Yeah.
It's a rough place.
Yeah, that's a great technique. I like
Yeah.
that. You got a Patreon question, bud?
Yeah, let's go Patreon style.
So our Patreon members, thank you for supporting us. It's huge. So we just selected a couple of your guys' questions. If you're a Patreon member, you know he's coming on the show beforehand. You get a chance to ask a question. And we're a podcast funded by the people. So thank you. And yeah, fire a couple off.
All right, we got one from Ryan Williams. With the mountain bike industry constantly upgrading and trying to push tech on the bikes, which new innovations / upgrades do you think are worth the money, and which ones do you think are simply to appeal to get into the pocket of that person who just has to have the latest and the greatest? I'm talking about for the average rider, not pros.
All right. I'm a big fan of just like run what you brung. Just fucking, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of good technology in the bikes, but I don't know. A lot of the technology is like not really necessary. Like all the different hub sizing and the this and that, and I don't know. It's a tough one. Just,
It's like
you know,
snowboarding. They're trying to get in your pockets, really, with different cameras.
yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, like, you know, somebody like me can benefit from, or like especially on the race side, like a lot of the new crazy technology is based off of like World Cup racing and cross country racing, where it's super specific, and you know the weight is super important, and yeah. But I mean, like all the bikes nowadays, like all the trail bikes especially, just the frame, the geometry, they're, you know, everything's pretty good. And I feel like even if you have like an entry level build on a bike, like just run it till you break something and then upgrade it from there. You don't need, like, I feel like all the dentists and doctors who, you know, have $12,000 bikes, like they're doing it, you know, I don't know, for clout. That's like their thing. They have money. They have a Sprinter van too. So they're, you know, they want to show they got money. So they're getting like the craziest part builds on their bikes and whatever. But honestly, you don't really need it to a certain extent. It's just tires. Tires are really
Good
important.
tires. That's a
Spend
good
the
point.
money on tires and make sure your suspension's set up right.
That's
Other than that, it's all kind of just, you know, what you like the bars, like the sweep on the bars, what kind of seat, what kind of this and that. You know, wheels are pretty important too, you know, like, but I'd say tires and suspension, run that and then upgrade as you go. You don't need like a $12,000 bike. I don't know if my sponsors would get pissed at me for saying that, but I mean,
it's
people are
facts,
going to
though.
buy it. People are going to buy what they want to buy. But in my opinion, just run whatever and just focus on your tires and setting up your bike right and just run it. And if shit breaks, then upgrade it from there. Yeah.
I started looking at mountain bikes, and it's daunting. They're so expensive.
Crazy.
So, well, there's a huge shortage right now too. So
And
it's
there's a
even hard to
shortage,
get
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They're sold out before you can even get them, and
Yeah.
everything else.
Everybody used their bucks from the government to buy bikes, and everything's sold out, huh?
Yeah, it blew up. Like, I think the mountain bike industry was up like 800% in sales this
800.
past year. Yeah. And yeah, like a lot of companies I ride for, it's like there's so much demand and they just can't keep up. And then with all the tariffs and different stuff going on, everything's made in China or Taiwan or whatever. Like factories that are good, like quality places. Not like it's super shitty Walmart built, whatever, you know, but it's like there's just so much going on and it's just so behind and there's so much demand that they can't keep up. So it's a tough one, but
You can't blame people for loving to ride bikes. But one thing I want
awesome.
to
Yeah.
dive into is I love riding mountain bikes, avid mountain biker myself, and I noticed that like coming from skateboarding, you want to look cool on your skateboard. Coming from snowboarding, you want to have a cool kit. Even moto, you know, you want to have a cool kit. But I noticed that some of the enduro kits and stuff, you're just like, you just aren't looking that cool. I don't know how else to say it. But do you want to touch on that subject? Do you have a take on anything like that?
yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a lot of trends going on right now, and the whole like enduro, you know, it used to be called Super D, you know? It's not like a new thing. It's just rebranded, and the racing is super impressive, super legit. Like a lot of really good technology, really good trail bikes and geometries came out of that whole side of the sport blowing up with the enduro racing. But also I feel like some nerdy shit has gone down too, and it's just like, I don't know. Everybody kind of looks the same now. Like, just wear what you want to wear. Wear a T-shirt if you want. You don't have to be full kitted up with a fanny pack and a water bottle cage and water bottle in your thing, and you know, like a trail helmet with goggles, and I don't know. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I live at the base of the canyons, and man, these guys, they bike by in these outfits all day long, and it's like, why can't you just wear a normal outfit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it that important to wear all the crazy stuff? Does it help you?
You want to
out?
look the part. You got if you want to go dirt, you got to look the part.
Yeah, I mean, wearing a kit's nice. Like wearing a jersey and shorts and stuff that matches. Like you want to look good, you know. And if it makes you feel good, then it is what it is. Like anybody can wear whatever they want to wear, you know. But
That's
like
true.
most of the time when I go on a trail ride, I just wear like a T-shirt and riding shorts and knee pads and. I don't know.
You know what I noticed?
feel like an outcast. It's like, sorry, I'm not kitted up. Like, I don't need to be. I'm not racing. Like,
I got to rant a little bit. I noticed on the trails is that like I see so many. I like pedaling up. I'm a fitness nerd myself to a degree, but some of the fitness nerds out there are just like, I almost joke that they're so into pedaling up. They're pedaling up like the trail that is the fun way down, and you're so like for more exercise. And then I almost joke like they heli their bikes out. They don't even they just ride the up and then they just bail. They don't
even go down.
Or they'll fly by you on the up and then they're going like 1 mile an hour on the downhill. You're like, come on, buddy.
Yeah, that's a way bigger issue than like the appearance side. Like appearance side, whatever. Like wear what you want to wear. If it makes you feel cool,
just busting
if it makes
balls.
you feel
We're busting
good.
balls.
Yeah, like whatever. Just wear that. But the whole like Strava, Trail Forks, like everybody that rides mountain bikes knows what I'm talking about. Maybe the snowboard crowd doesn't understand what that is.
They will.
I didn't know what that meant, but
it's like these apps that like, I don't know, you have like King of the whatever, like King of the Trail.
Every
KOM.
the
It's
apps,
KOM,
the
whatever
apps
that
basically
means.
monitor your.
You can
what
get
you're
the
doing.
fastest time on any given trail.
So it's like everybody's racing, and so like Bend especially is kind of like the epitome of that bullshit, and it pisses me off more than anything. It's like just ride to ride. Like it's not always a race, and it's like people get so competitive they'll be by themselves riding, and there's a stupid rule that probably a lot of people are gonna give me flack for, like all the nerds out there, but like the uphill people have the right of way even on like a downhill trail, you know. So you're ripping down. It's way easier for somebody coming up to just pull off the side of the trail than it is for somebody ripping down, trying to have fun, trying to like get control and get off the trail and stop. And that's a big thing. And like a lot of the dudes going up or not even dudes, like whoever, women too, they're, you know, some of them are just so serious, and you'll get yelled at like, you know, like, I have the right of way, get off the trail. And I always just like smash, I'll just go off the trail and just not even touch my brakes and just rip through bushes and shit. And I get yelled at. And I'm just like, woohoo, yeah, have fun climbing, just have fun. Like,
yeah.
How
taking
come you
yourself
don't
so
have the right of
seriously.
way?
No, uphill
Seems more
traffic
dangerous.
always
It's like a
has the right of way.
safety thing.
Always.
And no matter what you're on.
They say it, I don't really understand. I kind of understand some of it, but it's like, I don't know. It seems like common sense is like it's easier to, you know, stop your momentum going uphill and move than it is to like stop your momentum ripping down a trail and get off the trail. Like I feel like it's dangerous.
I think the issue would be solved a lot easier if they made more one direction trails, because here in Utah there's almost no one direction trails. They're all both directions. So the issue is like usually there's a given loop, like you ride it clockwise and it rides better. You know, there's generally a better way to ride a loop, and I find a lot of the guys in spandex and stuff are riding the fun part up, and it's like come on, the down's more fun. Like the down is more fun.
Yeah.
Can we just agree on that?
Yeah.
You know,
it's just like two separate sports colliding, you know?
Yeah,
like some
true.
people like the grind and some people like the fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, some people only want the exercise.
yeah. And in my opinion, like I just want to have fun, and when people get in your way and then you get yelled at because they're in your way, then it's like just seems so redundant to me. But like that's a question for the Forest Service and all these trail alliances that have all the rules. And you know, like in Bend there's a lot of like downhill only trails, but all the time you see people just like pedaling up the downhill trail, and then I yell at them. I'll like elbows out, rubbing his race, and I'll just hit them, you know, and like be like, get the fuck off the trail. Like this is a downhill trail. Like there's not a lot of downhill trails in Bend. Like, I want to rip berms and hit little jumps and rip
It's
down.
dangerous,
It's like,
too.
get out of here. Yeah.
You're not expecting someone around the corner that's coming up.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a blind corner, that could be brutal.
Yeah.
Another question I have, we've had James Jackson on the show, Red Bull Mindset Coach, I believe his professional title. And I've watched the Rampage stuff, and he's always with you at the top of the course. Now, I'm super interested as to what James is telling you, and what are you guys working on when you're about to drop in for Rampage?
Yeah, I've known James like my whole life, and yeah, he's mainly like in the snowboard world. You know, he coaches like Scotty James, coached Ben Ferguson when he was focused on pipe, and you know, works with a number of different snowboard athletes like Matty Mastro and a bunch of people. And obviously, like with that, like his background is snowboarding. Like he's a legend. He rips, you know. And with me, it's like he can't do what I can do on a bike, but he rips bikes, but he just knows so much about, like the mindset and the psychology of competing. And it's also similar, like what I do, like the feelings you get are the same. And, you know, the tendencies to make wrong moves are kind of the same, like as well, like the way you practice, the way you prepare, and what's in your head before you drop in. So it's mainly like, I call him kind of like a reassurance coach, and it helps me a lot. And, it allows me, like, I've just learned so much from it that I'll be like riding with buddies at home that are killing it, and like if they're tripping out, I can kind of be their coach too. And it's like, I don't know, it's a lot of like a lot of breathing, you know, like focus on the breathing, keep the adrenaline down, keep the mindset positive, keep negative thoughts out, and just like just kind of reassuring myself that, you know, I'm here to have fun. And you know, a huge thing that helps me is like reciting my line, like what I'm exactly going to do. Like he works with Bierman as well. And,
Tyler
you know,
Bierman, Pro Moto.
Yeah, Bierman's the man.
Yeah,
Those are the
been a
craziest,
guest, been on the show as well.
He's
Craziest-
an alumni, Bomb Hall
Listen
alum.
to it if you haven't.
craziest fucking whips, you know, on a moto probably ever. But yeah, it's all so similar. Just the mindset, just getting in a positive place and getting to a point where, I don't know, like reciting what you're doing is the biggest thing for me. Like envisioning in your head, like closing my eyes and going through every little detail of my whole line at Rampage, like down to like where I'm going to brake, where I'm going to pump, what I'm going to do in between to like try and keep flow going. And it just makes you drop in and you just know exactly what you're going to do. So we sit on top of that course and I'll recite it like 3 times to him. And then I'll be about to drop in and I'll have my eyes closed and I'll be envisioning like exactly what I'm going to do and how I'm going to pop for this drop, like this 3 drop, and I'm going to do this trick. And yeah, so it's just pretty much just reciting what you're going to do and just envisioning it, you know, just, yeah.
Another thing I think super interesting with that stuff is that helps. I think a lot of us naturally, whether you're doing any type of action sport, you might be at the top of something and you're like scared or you're questioning your abilities, or I think it's a natural thing for any human. And I feel like what really helps is remembering, like, the, you know, I think James might have said it on his episode, or I've heard it somewhere, but basically remembering that you know what you're doing. Like, you've done the work, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just kind of remembering, like, I know how to do this. And that always is like, before you try a trick, you just got to remember, okay, I know how to do this. Just like chill out. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure. And that's like, I remember every Rampage I've dropped into recently where James has been there, go through all the stuff. He'll kind of reassure me on all these things. I'll recite my line a few times. And then at the end of it, he'll shake my hand, give me a hug, and he'll just be like, go have fun and go show him what you've been working for your whole life, you know? And then it kind of brings me down to like why I'm doing it in the first place. Like, I'm there to have fun. I'm there to show like what my vision of mountain biking is. And I want to just like kind of show off like what I want to do. And that all comes down to having fun. So it's kind of like a great reminder just to drop in and kind of humble yourself and just drop in and take everything as it comes and just go shred, you know, just go have fun. Like, even on a scale like that event, you know, you can still drop in and just have fun. Like, yeah, the whole point is just not being stiff and just being like right in the moment and just drop in and just focus on every little detail of what you're doing and just put on like the run of your life, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's what James is kind of there to reassure me of. And probably same with, you know, all the pipe and slope athletes and snow and Bierman and everybody else he's worked with, you know, it's just show him what you're made of and just have fun, you know? And that's what he's there for. And he's a smart dude. Like, yeah, and I want to thank him for everything. He's helped me so much. James is the man.
Bud, do you want to hit another Patreon? I like that other one you had.
Yeah, let's go with another Patreon. This is from Jeremy Hudson. How do you and fellow hardcore riders feel about the newer trend of casuals on electric bikes? Is it good for the overall sport?
For sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan of e-bikes. You know, I have a lot of friends that have gotten injuries where, you know, if it wasn't for e-bikes, they wouldn't be able to ride anymore. Like Paul Basagodia, he's an absolute legend of our sport. He was the man in like 2005 until, you know, he's like the man. And then at Rampage 2015, he had an unfortunate accident, broke his back, was paralyzed, came back from it, like worked his ass off and, you know, came back to it and got to the point where he could walk again and, you know, not like perfectly walk, but he worked so hard and got back, and then he just got on an e-bike, and he never thought he was going to ride a bike again, you know? Like his goal is just to walk, but then he was able to ride, and then once he got on the bike, he, you know, got on an e-bike, and he's killing it. Like he's shredding, and he's getting little tricks back and style and riding all sorts of shit. He has his career back, and it's like, you know, for somebody like that, it's so huge, you know, and there's so many people that they didn't have a bike, like even like overweight people like around the world, like a lot of people you see are like a little overweight and they're on an e-bike, and without that, like they don't have any motivation to, like
get up
they don't
some of
think
those
they
climbs.
can.
Yep.
You know, somebody that's like really actually a little obese, it's like it kind of opens the doors to like I can exercise, but I can actually like do this, you know. And then it's like then it comes down to like the filmers, photographers who are carrying like a 50-pound bag, and it just makes it so much more accessible. But I think mainly it's for people that are, you know, maybe they're disabled, or maybe they, you know, wouldn't get on a bike unless they had that little assistance, you know? So I think it's huge. I think it's huge for getting more people into our sport and more people enjoying just riding a bike, you know, and not feel like it's such a daunting task. And, you know, so I'm a big supporter, and like BLM is allowing e-bikes on BLM land, you know? And Forest Service is still kind of in the dark with it, and they, you know, it's still like you're not allowed to do it. It's illegal, you know, because of like fire danger. It's considered a motorized vehicle, whatever, which is all kind of BS, you know.
Yep.
But I feel like that will change eventually, and I think it's good. I think it's good for the sport, and you know, those spandex nerds out there, like a lot of times they complain about how the e-bike's gonna rip up the trail. It's like it's not a fucking moto, dude. You can't burn out on that.
It makes the
thing.
corners better, if anything.
Yeah, it's not gonna do anything.
They can pull you
Yeah.
uphill?
Dude.
Oh yeah,
you can some
get
of them you don't
pulled
even have to
uphill.
pedal. You literally just hit a throttle on some of them. But yeah, it's crazy. You do one pedal stroke and it's like doing 10 or 15 on it. It's like you
it's
feel like
like a-
Superman.
Juices you.
Yeah, it's like
awesome.
electric assist. So you pedal and you have different modes. You can go in like
you still
boost mode
pedal.
where it's hot, or you can like kind of like there's a range for how much assistance you get. You pedal. Like I think the twist throttle ones, I don't think those are going to be legal on like
That's
Too much like a moto.
You
stuff.
that
gotta
is
have,
a moto. Like
that is
those
a
things
moto.
rip,
Yeah.
you know, like the Sirons. That's a brand, and it's pretty much a downhill bike. Kind of looks like a moto. It has pegs, and it's a twist throttle. Those things are so quick. Like that won't. Like I'm talking like straight up e-bike pedal assist.
Pedal
You know,
How much do these pedal assist units
expensive.
cost to get into the game?
pretty spendy. Yeah.
If any sponsors want to throw some at the bomb hole, we'll test them.
Yeah.
We'll test them.
It's just so cool to like get more people into it that if those didn't exist, they wouldn't have any interest, you know? So that's my thing. And to all the nerds out there that complain about, oh, going to rip up the trails, like, that's what a fucking trail is for. Like, shitty roads, shit gets rebuilt.
Well, also,
Chill out.
this is the issue. It's not the trails. The issue with the spandex guys that don't like e-bikes, it's their ego.
Yeah.
Because they're working so hard to go up, and they pride themselves on their ability to climb. And when somebody passes them on
they
an
see
e-bike,
me on next to them like,
dude,
passing
they're
them,
literally,
like, whoa.
it's like the only issue I think it is a human's ego.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, what? Oh, he's climbing better than me. He passed me on an e-bike. It's like, dude, yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
like,
who cares?
For each their own. Like,
Yeah.
you ride a bike, I feel like everybody riding a bike is cool to me, you know? And just like every dude on a snowboard or skis, it's cool, you know? Just get out there and do something, you know? And, yeah, the ego thing, that's probably definitely true, you know? And that's like, you know, for each their own. Take it with a grain of salt. Just, you know, let people enjoy riding a bike. Like, don't be such a trail Nazi about all this, whatever. Just,
No, it's a great topic. It's definitely hits
Yeah.
home for myself and I think anybody that rides a mountain bike. Now I think it's time for a segment of the show we like to call, you know what, buds?
Name that video part.
Now, Name That Video part is unofficially sponsored by Cobra Dogs. Cobra Dogs is back in action. Spencer Schubert, Derek Lever, and Wiz, Alex Sherman. They started back up Cobra Dogs. I think it's up at High Cascade right now, and they're cranking out dogs, and it's one of the most iconic establishments to anybody that's ever been to Mount Hood. And so, you know, they're back in action. If you're up at Mount Hood, check those guys out. You can support them. Cobra Dogs is a great thing for snowboarding, so it's awesome that Spencer fired that back up.
I like to call it Cobra Glizzies.
Oh, glizzy, yeah. We learned that a hot dog is called a glizzy from our intern, who's 16. Now, so we do name that video part normally as snowboard video parts, but for this one, we are going to do a mountain bike video part. So did some research, and I've heard this is an iconic part, and I hope you get it. What's your confidence level, 0 through 10?
Maybe like a 6 or 9, somewhere in there, you know.
That's
I like
strong.
that.
That's
I like
coming
that.
strong.
I can back that.
I really like that
Love
too.
the confidence. Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's Darren Bearcloth, easy.
Ooh, 6 or 9, a.k.a. 69. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's claw.
We'll put that at a 9. So you just earned yourself a bomb hole prize pack.
Oh,
Inside there, you got basically a bomb hole mug. Well, you got a bomb hole T-shirt. You got some stickers. You got to hit that button on the top there.
Oh,
And then
arm doesn't work that well.
basically you got some bomb hole hats in there, and all of the stuff available at bombhole.com. Here's a water bottle as well.
Sick. Thank you.
But basically, yeah, if you want to support the show and get some of this merch, we do not sell coolers. You have to be a guest to get a cooler. But we do sell coffee mugs and things of that nature. Helps us do this show. So head on over to bombhole.com and put that right next to your Rampage trophy.
Yeah, you should get one of these.
Yeah,
Pretty sick.
That's basically that cooler is actually more sought after than a Rampage trophy. We've been told by a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
our guests.
sorry, yeah, they can't buy those.
Yeah, they can't buy the
Shit.
cooler.
All right,
You're the first and only professional mountain biker to have one of those. I mean,
well, keep dreaming.
keep dreaming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful.
awesome.
For part 2 of first of all, that bear claw part is legendary from what I hear. Right? That's like,
Oh yeah,
that's the one.
It's from the movies I watched growing up. The mountain bike movies. It was called Neural Disorder. So it was Neural Disorder 1 through 10. So it happened for 10 years. And it was like the shit, like super similar to the old snowboard movies where every year everybody had a part, you know? So all the guys that were the guys had a part in Neural Disorder, you know? And it was just something like, you know, I still watch them today. Like, I'm trying to get me a set of all 10 of them so I can just keep watching them for the rest of my life because it's just epic and it just shows the progression of the sport because our sport's fairly new and it, like, it progressed, like, leaps and bounds through the years, you know? And it's, like, it's just such a historical piece of our sport. And, yeah, Claw was a huge part of it. He's the man. He's definitely a huge legend of the sport. And that song's funny because I've gotten to film a few movies with Claw the past few years, and he's one of my good buddies. And that's the Claw song, Symphony of Destruction. So, yeah, on Instagram, I don't know, maybe some people who follow me have seen it, but it turned into a thing for a while where every time I saw Claw, even if he usually didn't know I was around, but I would play that song as loud as I could, and I would zoom into him and get his reaction every time. That's Claw. That's his song. Yeah.
So you definitely
That was
knew
the
that
easiest.
song.
That was the yeah. I was thinking it was gonna be like a Seminuk part or a Zinc part or something like that, but that Claw thing, that was like, yeah,
That was a tee up.
That's an
it was
iconic
dialed.
tee up.
So we're for part 2. This is for our listeners. We went with the snowboard part for this one. For all the snowboard nerds, I can put myself in that category. If you know the answer to what song and what video this is from, comment on Carson's photo on Instagram when this episode comes out for a chance to win your own bomb hole prize pack. Here we go. Okay, thank you guys for playing. Name that video part. All right, we're going to get into a guest question from none other than Ben Ferguson. Here we go.
What up, Bombhole? Ben Ferg here. Chris, Stone, how are you guys? Thanks for having me on as a guest questioner. I know you got Carson Storch in the booth, our good buddy, Bend, Oregon local, mountain bike badass. And I'm kind of wondering what the next sports car purchase will be. What's he thinking? How long is he going to hold on to it before he moves on to the next one? I also want to know how much my rent will be the next coming months. It'd be nice to dial in. When can I move in? And also, if he remembers how much he owes me for those bindings 10 years ago. And don't say that my dad told you didn't have to pay me, because that's just not true. All right, thanks, boys. Can't wait to listen. Peace.
Holding on to a 10-year grudge there.
Dude,
That's a 3-parter. We don't get those very often.
Fergie.
Did he call you Snorch, first of all?
Yeah, he calls me Carson Storch. I always forget about it until he calls me it.
I like it.
It's good.
Solid
I guess.
nickname.
It's a good nickname.
So what do we got? First question was about a sports car.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I like cars and trucks and off-road vehicles. Maybe a weak spot of mine, and all my friends think I make really stupid purchases, and from the outside it may look like that, but I grew up, my dad always flipped cars and shit and trucks and boats, and he's just always flipping and whatever, and it just kind of ingrained into me, so I've always kind of done it. So I've had probably 17 different vehicles since I was 16, which is kind of ridiculous, but I recently bought a stupid car. I don't post on social media. It wasn't a clout thing. It wasn't for my image. It's just literally because I'm just a fan of fast cars and had the opportunity to buy one. And I got an M4. I don't know. It's a BMW. It's fast, and never posted one thing about it because I really don't want people to think I'm doing it for my image, and because I don't really care. I just like horsepower and like burning fuel.
Can't get mad at you for that.
Yeah. But I'm selling it right now. So if anybody out there wants a really fast tuned M4 that's ridiculous and scary, but really fun, I'm selling it because I've decided I need to chill out. And all my friends are like, "Oh yeah, right, you're gonna sell it in 6 months. You're gonna buy something else," which I might. But at this point in time, I want to sell it. So yeah, there's that. Yeah,
pretty good. That's a pretty good Craigslist ad there.
Yeah,
live read.
Yeah, live read.
Yeah.
Slide in my DMs.
If you want to buy
are you accepting
BMW.
trades? Are you accepting trades? That's a big one.
Yeah, I got a fish tank and a bed frame. I might come by and try to trade for this car if you're down.
If there's any construction people out there that are on listening to the bomb hole, I'll trade you probably plus cash to build me a shop at my house.
Wow, now we're wheeling.
Because that's literally why I want to sell it. Because I'm like, I have this money tied up in this car. Kind of feel stupid. It's fun. It's super unpractical for what I do. It's just literally fun. And I was just like, I want a shop, and I can't justify spending money on a shop when I have this money tied up in a car. So that's why I'm selling it. So yeah, I'll
he
trade.
is accepting trades.
I will help too. I'll dig the foundation. I'll pour the I'll do as much as I can. I just suck at woodwork, so just help me out. Or metal, prefab metal shop. I'm down.
Yeah, those are nice. Those are affordable.
Yeah.
And then so we also got a couple other questions on B-Ferg. I don't want to tear off. Lose that tangent here. So he asked you about his bindings when he was a kid, and then his rent.
Yeah. Okay.
Rent.
All right. We'll go bindings first. That's a sore subject. I was 14. I asked him if I could buy some bindings off him, and it was at my cousin's. My aunt and uncle used to have these parties, barbecues, whatever, where all the Groms go, all their parents, kind of tied into Mount Bachelor's MBSEF team program, whatever. And the Fergusons were there. Cole Ortega, I don't know if he's a buddy we grew up with. He was really sick at Borden, but all the families were there, and I ended up asking Ben's dad, Brandon, about the bindings, and he was like, dude, just take them. They're yours. And Ben still doesn't believe me. It's been forever, but Ben originally wanted $40 for them. But Brandon told me, I remember it, it's ingrained in my brain. He was like, dude, it's all good. And I even a couple years ago asked him about it because me and Ben are always arguing about this. Brandon's like, yeah, they were yours. I told you to take them for free. Ben, you got to talk to your dad about that one because he's telling me one thing, you're telling me another thing.
We need to get some lawyers involved here.
Yeah, lawyers.
This could be lawyer fees. This could be a disaster.
If he really wants, I'll give him free tires.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. See, what I think he might be trying to work an angle is he's trying to live at your house, compound interest for $40 over however many years. He might be thinking he's living there for free.
Compound interest.
Yeah, he's trying to get me on something. I know him. I know how his brain works. Yeah.
I could see that.
And he rents from you, or he's trying to rent from you? He doesn't have his own crib?
He's trying to build a house right now, and it's taken 15 years or something.
Good time for the price of lumber.
Yeah. But yeah, he's trying to move in until his house is done, which I don't know how long that'll be, but I'm down because I just, get to hang out with Fergie more because usually we're like best friends and we kind of travel on opposite schedules all the time, like winter, I'm home, he's gone, summer, vice versa. And then we're never not busy. I fly, like my season kind of never ends. Same with Fergie. So it's like, we're kind of always missing each other. So I'm super down to have him move in, and his girlfriend Kellyanne is going to move in with him. So, I've double checked with the roommates that are already in there, my cousin and my buddy Matt, and they're down. So it won't even really be packed that tight. It'll be pretty chill. And yeah, Ben just has a lot of shit. So I'm kind of worried about all his shit all over the place, his sleds. And that's why I want to shop. I need a shop. So
he could be building his house for another 15 years too. So
well, let's talk about this backyard compound you have, because I was watching some videos on it. You got a mini excavator, or maybe it's like a medium-sized excavator, not even a mini really, and you got a gigantic 3 shipping container tall drop into a giant kind of step over jump.
Yeah,
and it just looks like an incredible little piece of land you got going with this compound.
Yeah. So I had a house in Bend and in a zone called the DRW for a while. It's kind of like little backwoods, kind of used to be sketchy, but now it's not. Zone had an acre and built, I used every piece of dirt on my 1 acre to build everything I had because there's just so much rock there that literally used all the dirt. I had to get dirt kind of trucked in every once in a while to build stuff. And then I had the opportunity. I found some land a little south of Bend and bought it, and it was 18 acres, and the dirt's not good because it's Bend dirt, but there's no rocks out there, so I can dig as deep as I want. So I don't know, there's just a lot of potential to build a lot more stuff, So ended up buying the land. I built a house through last year, which was a perfect time to do it with COVID going on. And yeah, so I didn't have much going on. Now I was at home a lot, so did that. Now, I ended up buying 3 storage containers because when I sold my old house, I put all my stuff in the storage containers, which is pretty funny because I was getting stuff in the top 2 and it was really dangerous and sketchy, but I stored it in there for a year until my house is done. And then, disassembled my old roll-in, which is also dangerous. Just everything about it was shiesty. It was sketchy. You had to rent this big reach-out machine, which is a front loader with a boom that goes like that, and disassemble stuff, reattach it to the storage container setup. We welded them together. Just everything about it was super sketchy. But now it's in there and it's solid, and I pretty much have a bag landing.
Like an airbag.
An airbag. Yep. Yeah, it's like a bag landing. It's in snowboarding too. And I got one of those. Really good setup for practicing. And now I'm at the point where I just haven't had too much time to build real stuff. But yeah, now that I'm kind of injured right now and I have time, so the next few weeks I think I'm going to start building at least one big line that I can ride with a flat drop to a big jump to maybe a double-sided snowboard hip.
Is there a hillside on your property?
Nope, so it's all flat. So
you got to build a giant drop in to hit anything pretty much?
Yeah, but I'm going to base everything off the storage containers, which is 30 feet tall. And then since I can I can dig as deep as I want, I can kind of create elevation. So it just pretty much means I just have to move a ton of dirt. But it'll work and it'll be sweet, and there's a lot of space. So in the future, want to build a pit bike track and moto track, maybe a freestyle kicker for the moto, and side-by-side track for the Can-Am, and, make a little compound for sure.
Sounds like a little piece of heaven. Now, for people that don't know, I find it super impressive that you can also flip a little dirt bike, those 110s, CRF 110, and you can flip backflips, or dirt bikes as well, which is incredible. Right?
Yeah.
How's that compared to flipping a bicycle?
Yeah, well, I can't flip a real moto. I haven't done that. Eventually I want to, but the pit bikes are kind of scary to flip, but it's really not that hard. It's just kind of scary because those things are pretty heavy. So it's definitely a weird feeling. You get a lot of gyro feeling. You feel like you're getting stuck upside down, and then it comes around and it's fine. But yeah, my cousin Drew Browner, I have to shout out him.
Let's give him a little air horn.
Yeah, insane on the pit bikes, and maybe probably a good part of the crowd, the snowboard crowd was watching this, might know Drew's name.
I've met him at the launch.
Yeah. He's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sick.
I've shot some photos of Drew.
Still shredding hard, knows the Burton guys, rode for Burton for a while, and he kills it. He's steezy and has tricks and good all around, dude. But he's he's my cousin. He's more naturally talented than any of us were growing up. Even Gabe and Ben Ferguson will say the same. He's the most talented one out of any of us. He's insane, but he just can't pick something to focus on. He's so good at everything. He like can't. Now he just has fun. He just works excavation, moves dirt, and he just rips whatever, snowboards, pit bikes, mountain bikes. Yeah, he just rips. So shout out to Dewey.
Can he flip a 110?
Oh yeah,
Way
better than me.
Did he start the train? Who started the 110 flip train?
I think Drew did. Yeah, but then a few of us have done it since then, and yeah, Drew went to Axel Hodges' property, rode pit bikes, killed it. Should have been invited to the X Games pit bike competition because Drew probably could easily win it. He's insane. Like he flat spun a pit bike,
like a 360.
Yeah, like a flat spin 360.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
And which is like, yeah, nobody's really.
I was asking Bierman about that because like those guys are doing whips that are at 180. Like
just keep it
going. Just keep it going. But it seems like you'd come around all crazy probably.
There was at the X Games, the FMX competition, the Spaniard dude was I forgot his name, but doing legit flat spins.
Really?
Almost like a dump 3.
Yeah.
On a bike. It literally looked like a whip.
Backflip?
It looked like a whip. It wasn't like Sheeny does really good flat spins, but they're more flippy. And this guy was doing like spins.
Yeah.
Insane
Wild.
looking. Yeah. It'd probably be the scariest thing you could ever do.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The way you come into the landing on that.
I think he was a Spaniard guy. Don't quote me on that. I just watched it.
Another thing I want to talk about too, I think super interesting, is you started a excavation company, right?
Yeah.
For a little while because you had to pay for your equipment.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I started it with my good buddy Kyle Jameson. Got to the point where, I wasn't doing the work every day. I was just kind of helping with back work, and we just decided to go our separate ways in a totally okay way, just friendly. And so he kind of took the excavation company, and he's doing his thing, killing it. It's just I have a full-time job, and that kind of turned into his full-time job. And then, when that happened, I decided to just kind of buy my own equipment. So I bought a mini excavator, and I can justify it just having all my land. And then also these projects that I do, I like building my own stuff, and usually ended up just, sometimes getting a budget to do like a build for a video and spending so much money on renting equipment, that it ends up being cheaper just owning your own piece. So it's kind of like, I have a passion for moving dirt. I really enjoy it, and I really like being in control of what I build. And it's kind of like another thing that, I'm not the best at it, but I'm progressing all the time. And it's like a fun thing for me. So it's just something for me to learn. Like every time I do a project, do a build, I learn a lot. So yeah, so it's kind of, childhood dream to own my own equipment. So
running
kind of
those things
dropped
is
in.
fun.
They're not that cheap, but it's kind of like an extra mortgage payment. But I can justify it through projects and kind of making it work.
Running an excavator when you don't do it all the time, especially, is so damn fun.
Oh,
it's like just digging holes. You're like a kid in a sandbox, just moving dirt around.
Yeah, and I got a deal with this company called Steel Wrist. Shout out to them. And it's a 360 bucket. Mm-hmm. And it's like a game changer for building jumps. It's really difficult. I'm still learning it, still trying to get dialed in, but it makes it so you can sit in one spot, and like building berms or shaping lips.
Oh, yeah.
You can pack, and it's crazy. Like the doors that opens up with
articulation
those machines.
of the bucket.
It's like an extension for your hand. You can just move a lot of dirt, and you can pack and just make stuff dialed. So it's been pretty fun to play with that thing too, and it's kind of permanent on my machine now, but it's pretty epic.
Okay, let's dive into hot takes. We asked all the snowboarders, all our guests, kind of the same set of questions. We'll switch it up since you're a mountain biker. So we always like to ask the MJ or GOAT of snowboarding and the MJ or GOAT of mountain biking. Who you got?
For biking? Brandon Semenuk is definitely the greatest of all time. Yeah.
That's undisputed, huh? He's
he's done everything, won everything, put out the best video parts, and he's good on all the bikes, like slow style bikes, downhill bikes. He's just the man. And he's kind of untouchable still. Just crazy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then who's the GOAT for snowboarding for you?
Dude, I was the biggest fan of Aero Atala growing up.
Oh, no way. Yeah,
that's a good choice. OG.
That's a good choice.
Like he was so sick. Yeah.
Hello, Atala.
Yeah.
And then one other thing we asked, we'd like to ask a lot is worst trend. And that can be in any, you can talk about mountain biking, you can talk about snowboarding, life,
whatever trend.
Something that's been bugging me is the new style with girls wearing like big ass white shoes. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, let's go down this wormhole.
God, they drive.
This is a fun one. Yeah.
don't understand it.
The big feelers?
Yeah.
Oh, the big feelers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't understand the clunkers. They're just clunky as hell. Yeah.
They're the throwbacks. They're like old school style feelers, big and white.
I'm just not personally. I'm not a fan.
They throw them on with some mom jeans.
The sheer amount of rubber involved in those is almost like it can't be good for the environment. Also, it's like more than a moto tire or something. It's like it's got to be like just destroying the environment. Like just think about it from an environmental standpoint.
The environment.
It's just not good. You know,
You could be recycling like tires and put them into the rubber.
I don't know. Maybe
could be helping the environment.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not so
Either
sure.
way,
It's
I don't like that either.
It reminds me of like a horseshoe on a horse. You know,
It comes way down.
it drives me. I don't understand it. Yeah.
That's a great. That's one of my favorite worst trends I've ever heard because I'm right behind you on this.
Yeah, I can
Feelers.
talk
It's
about
like,
biking or snowboarding or whatever. But that was the first thing that popped to mind.
Yeah,
I
see
always
those.
talk about. It's like why?
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around the feelers at all.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your bike setup. What are you rocking? Who do you ride for? What's the bike all about?
Yeah, so I ride for Rocky Mountain Bikes. It's built with Michelin tires, which are epic, and I just started riding for them. And SR Sun Tour suspension, really cool company, supports free ride. Tidal mountain bike, which is components like bars, seats, stems. I ride their wheels. And my good buddy Brett Reeder, who's a legend of our sport, he decided to start this company. And so it's really cool to ride for them and support Brett's company. And Shimano makes really good parts, drivetrain, brakes. And I think that's my bike build. And ride for Dakine, Red Bull, Giro for helmets and shoes, and Space Brace, which is like an ankle brace company. They make wrist braces. And Mikey Gray, who's a pro BMXer, he's super fucking sick, like street kind of all around dude. It's his company. I ride for Mount Bachelor. So yeah,
And
shout
10
out.
barrel.
Oh yeah, and 10 barrel, of course. Yeah,
We knew you were going to do a good one for them, so we just gotta give them a big old air horn.
yeah, and yeah. So I'm really happy riding for a lot of the companies for a long time. I like longevity. I don't really like hopping around. So good relationships with all the TMs and the companies, and yeah, thanks for the sport and allowing me to live my dream.
And Michelin's like the old Ghostbusters Michelin man.
Oh
Oh, yeah, they make
They're-
tires
they
for
make-
everything. Moto, bike, every kind of bike tire you could find.
Yeah, they own BFG as well. So BFG makes like it's probably the best truck tire. Like KO2, good. Yeah,
That's tight.
yeah.
And then one really cool thing when I was doing my research I found was that Black Sage event looks amazing. You guys get a bunch of moto guys. Talk about that real quick because that thing's really sick.
Yeah, we, my buddy Kyle Jameson and I, we started doing Black Sage, part of the Fest series. We did it for 3 years in Oregon, at the Oregon Dirt Park. It's called. It's a big moto track facility, kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it's pretty rad. And did that for 3 years. We're currently on kind of a 2-year gap year because of COVID, and hoping to do it again in the future, and maybe in a different location. But it was just super good times. The whole point of it was kind of the opposite of competition. It's more just like jam. The whole point is filming, shredding, having big sessions, and getting moto involved, because Beerman and all of us, we all kind of agree like free ride is free ride, and like free ride on a moto is free ride on a bike. It's kind of like the same thing, just different tools. So it's cool to get like Beerman and Matto and everybody, all the moto dudes that came and doing trains with them is kind of crazy. They're hitting their own jumps, are way bigger, and we're kind of in the air at the same time. So it's good times for sure, and just getting the local Bend community like in person, seeing our side of the sport for the first time, because nothing like that has happened in our zone. So yeah, I feel like it kind of opened the eyes of a lot of kids, and seeing that it's like a realistic thing they can pursue. And so hopefully it was a good thing for the community in Bend and all the kids coming up and realizing, if they want a free ride, it's obtainable, and, you can build big jumps in Bend if you want, you put in the work. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting topic going back. You can't really, people are used to showing up riding snowboard parks or bike parks, and the free ride scene, you got to show up and have a shovel and do some work.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool.
Same with moto, our sport, backcountry snowboarding, skiing, same thing. You got to go put in the work, find the zone, and yeah.
Cool. Well, I know you got an awesome project, Quarter Point, coming out. You've been working on that for 3 years. So make sure our audience keeps their eyes peeled for that. It should be incredible, correct?
Yeah, my buddy Clay Porter, he's directing it, and kind of the whole point of the movie is Clay and he was one of the filmers on North and Nightfall, this movie I got to be a part of in the North Pole that we were talking about earlier on, and being up there so far away the whole time, me and Clay, like he was just about to move to Bend, so we're just talking like, dude, fuck, like we should just film a movie where we can sleep in our own beds and we don't have to be like at the North Pole in a gnarly place, which was, I mean, an epic experience. But that was the whole point of the movie. We're like, dude, we should film a movie in Bend, like around the state, where we can sleep in our bed and make a movie. So ended up, now it's a super long-term project and filmed for like about 3 years. And and it's all Oregon-based, all the riding. We didn't travel anywhere else for any of the filming. So lots of builds happened, and we got a bit more to do this year. And it should be sweet, but we're hoping to release it early December. Not really sure where. It'll be on iTunes and Amazon, all that stuff, potentially on a streaming deal eventually. But, maybe do a few premieres for it in December. So, it's kind of coming out in the, beginning of the snowboard season. But we just want to get it out there because we've been sitting on so much stuff for so long that, kind of put our heart and soul into it. And it's definitely a passion project for both of us. And, got a couple more seggies to film, and we're going to get her out there.
Love that. We're excited to see that. Hopefully we get to make it to a premiere. Hopefully we get to come watch you at Rampage this year as well. That'll be super fun.
Sick.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, before we wrap this thing up and put a bow on it, we like to ask you if you want to thank anybody before we wrap this thing up.
A lot of people to thank, but I'll try my best. Thanks, James Jackson, for all the support over the years. Thanks all my friends. Thanks, Fergie. He's like one of my best friends, but he's also an inspiration to me. See what he's doing in his career. He's killing it. All about style, all about, it's just been super inspirational to me to try and like go down my path in the same route in a different sport. Because I kind of envision things the same as him in that regard. Thanks to Eric Smith, Ben Cyclery, local dude. Wouldn't be here without him. My parents. Could go on, give a whole Supercross thing, but I don't know. There's a lot of people I could thank, but thanks to all my friends. Everybody supports me, and thank you guys for having me on. It's been a cool experience.
Well, beautiful. Thanks for being our first mountain biker.
Yes.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you guys for listening and watching. We will see you next week. Over and out from the bomb hole.